Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Titas of Pageantry, and for this episode, we will be talking about pageant unicorns. Now, if you want to find out what the pageant unicorn is, please make sure to stick around. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant tips. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing well. Before I start this episode, I just want to give a shout out to those people who have sent me messages these past couple of days. I think you're all aware that I have been under the weather for quite some time. And for those of you who have sent me well wishes and wishes for recovery, thank you so much for that. I'm still working on a full recovery. So hopefully, I'd be 100% in the next couple of days. Now, what I've done for the past few days as well is keep myself busy and keep myself up to date with new social media platforms out there. So I have involved myself in several social media platforms, and I hope that you would join me there too. So I've opened up a Patreon account. So if there are people out there who want to support this channel, please check me out on Patreon. I have the link on my description box. So if you want to be part of that community and get first dibs on what I will be cooking up or what my thoughts are, I'm on Patreon. And another exciting social media platform for me is Laika. So I'm there. Titas of Pageantry is there, as well as my partner, Tita Belay, who goes under Rihanna. So my account on Laika is Tita Lavinia. So it basically functions like Instagram. It's just that every post, every comment, or every vote for someone else's photo has a gem equivalent, which you can accumulate and then use for item purchase or maybe food deliveries, and maybe soon to pay your utilities. So if you want to check those social media platforms out, please go ahead and do so and join me. So there. This episode really is something fun. It's not really rooted in what I normally do. Like, I would really go into research mode. So there's no epic research involved in this. There is also no science involved in this. Also no analytics involved in this. This is just something a little different from what you're used to, because everybody else is doing interviews. I've done several interviews myself, but I feel like we need a little bit of a break. So this is also not something to talk about what's happening in the pageant world, because nothing is really happening in the pageant world, but I didn't want to give you just a simple throwback. So pageant unicorns, what are they? Well, as you know, unicorns are mythical creatures. They're magical. They're like above everyone else, and everybody likes unicorns. And when I say pageant unicorns, I mean, these are the girls who have either won or who have competed at the pageants, who just seem to be so competitive, so difficult to beat, and so versatile that they could probably do really well with one pageant and then another, and then another. Because as you know, when it comes to beauty pageants, the major and the minor pageants, they have what we call a peg, or what we call a prototype. So there are rare candidates or rare queens who could cross over and do pretty well hypothetically. So there's your thing. Everything in this list is hypothetical. So if you're gonna go nuts, if you're gonna go warla on me and say, Tita Lavinia, why is my favorite not on your list? Well, that's just because they're probably perfect in the pageant that they joined, and they're probably perfect with the title that they earned. So there you go. I am going to start my list at number 10. Now at number 10, she's new, she's fresh. We haven't really heard about her, but she was the very reason I thought about this episode anyway. Her name is Lindsay Coffey. She is the new Miss Earth USA 2020. And upon first encounter of her photo, all you're gonna say is like, whoa, why isn't she in Miss Universe? Lindsay is someone new to the pageant world. She has done some local pageants, but she hasn't really been in our radar. So when she won and when she had all these photos taken and all these photos circulating around social media, it was just immediate. I know she has yet to prove something, but as early as now, she is already a heavy favorite for the Miss Earth crown. And if you look at her, she's so polished. As a model, she's very much like how Australian models would package themselves. So they're very editorial, they're very commercial, and this is what Lindsay is all about. Now, her beauty is someone that you could imagine could translate well at Miss Universe and could also translate well at maybe supranational. And of course, if you see her physique, I'm pretty sure Uncle Nawat would be super happy to have her on board as well. Number 9 on my list is Katherine Hike. I don't know if you remember her, but we certainly remember her, and we've been watching her ever since her stint with Pia in 2015. Now, Katherine is the youngest Miss Teen USA, crowned at only 15 years old. Now, looking at her photos, she has everything. She's statuesque. She has that beautiful, very Ralph Lauren face. She has blue eyes, dark hair, and she's got the body. Now, I know that Katherine stopped with the pageantry thing, focusing on her studies. We're still hoping that she gives it another shot with a higher pageant like maybe Miss USA. But although Katherine is a big question mark when it comes to being a pageant unicorn, just the mere mention or just the mere idea of waiting for Katherine to go into the nationals is something. I mean, we don't usually wait for girls like that. A lot of these Miss Teen USA girls, they're very obscure, but for Katherine to continue being in our subconscious must mean that she could be potentially someone hard to beat. Number 8. Now, I want to introduce number 8 for you only because I know you've seen her all around. In social media, we have what we call a black Barbie. Now, when we say Barbie, we throw that word around loosely. Anyone who's like super pretty, we call them Barbie. But this one in particular is a black Barbie precisely because she actually looks like the Barbie doll that was produced by Mattel. Duskier though. I'm talking about Vanessa Mendoza. Vanessa Mendoza, she had her time in 2002, so obviously that was a very different time. We don't know how strong she was back in the day because we had very little or no social media to begin with. But Vanessa is the very first Señorita Colombia of color, an Afro-Colombian winner. So back at that time, although her beauty was celebrated, it also raised a lot of eyebrows because when she won, it was at that time that the Señorita Colombia organization was having issues about racism. So when she won, a lot of people thought that she was just picked to win to appease everyone without really realizing that her beauty was actually generally accepted. So when she competed at Miss Universe in 2002, it was just really unfortunate that she didn't advance any higher. But even up to this day, we still reference her beauty. So what actually went wrong? How could she be a pageant unicorn if she didn't even advance in 2002? Well, that could be attributed to 2 things. The first one is that she did not really give us a really strong preliminary performance. And another thing that did not really resonate very well with the judges was the fact that it was a really different time in 2002. In 2002, they were very, very specific with what they wanted. They wanted the glamazons. They wanted the Trump era type of beauties. Now, I'm not saying that she wasn't Trump era worthy. I'm just saying that her beauty is something that could be appreciated now. Now, if she were to compete now, she would make a lot of people really nervous. She could make people nervous not just for Miss Universe, if you probably bring her to Miss International, because of her doll-like features, because everything is so striking and soft and feminine about her. Then she could really do really well at Miss International. We have to understand, Miss International doesn't really have a very good track record in crowning girls of color. So for me, this is the most hypothetical in my list, but if she could compete now, then she is definitely someone we'd be really nervous of. So there. In my number 7 spot, I have Amelia Vega. Now, Amelia Vega, if you remember her performance in 2003, she is, of course, the Dominican Republic representative who eventually won Miss Universe in 2003. She is considered to be one of the youngest winners of Miss Universe, winning the title at only 18. Now, what's great about her was that she was oozing with confidence, and it did not hurt her that she was one of the tallest. At 6 feet tall, you cannot miss her. If you look at her performance, she really ticked the boxes. She was flirty, she was candid, even her Q&A was something that was just really casual, really conversational. So for an 18-year-old to have that in the bag, that's really something else. She's so striking, in fact, that if she had the chance to compete maybe at Miss World, maybe at Supranational, even at Miss Grand International, I'm pretty sure she would do really well, because Amelia Vega is just one of those rare beauties who just have that effervescence around them that they could convince anyone, hey, I may not be the perfect fit for your pageant, but I could do really well in your pageant. So she does have that attitude going on. So there. My number 6 is, of course, the eternal beauty that is Oksana Fedorova of Russia. We all know the fabled beauty of Oksana, and I think that with all of the scores that she garnered, all of the things that we've been hearing and reading about her, that's enough to really secure her spot out there. I mean, this girl is just so facially stunning, so regal in her bearing, and so effortless that she could probably do really well in all of the other pageants, may it be a minor or a major one. So, I mean, look at her today. Even if she was dethroned, or even if she gave up the crown, it doesn't matter. She is still in all of our social media accounts. We still talk about her. We still reference her. Number 5 is also very interesting for me, and I'm talking about Stephania Stegman of Paraguay. Now, Stephania won the 2015 Miss Supranational crown, and what's interesting about her was that she was actually snubbed in 2011 when she competed at Miss International. But that doesn't really mean that she wasn't strong. It's just that maybe a lot of people also gave more importance or maybe more attention to the other girls, because when she won 2015 at Supranational, we were like, whoa, where did she come from? As you know, if you win Supranational, they have like a specific peg. So it's more like someone from Miss Universe, but a little fiercer, a little sweeter. So when they crowned Stephania Stegman with her editorial looks and her killer body, a few years after that, we started thinking, she could actually go into Miss Universe anyway. And for a while, there were talks of her moving into Miss Universe. So for her to have that beauty and translate not just for the pageant-loving fans, but for fashion as well, must mean that she's really bankable, must mean that she's really, really versatile. Next, number 4. I'm really excited for number 4 because I feel that number 4 is just someone that we haven't seen in a long time. And I must be really right, because after number 4, we haven't really seen someone that strong from that country. And I'm talking about Honey Lee, everybody's favorite Korean representative. Now, she was head-to-head with Rio Mori when she competed, and she had everything going on for her. She had the doll face, she had the dimple, she had the killer physique. Most of all, she had the pasarela, she had everything. And maybe Rio inched out a little bit because of the elegance factor, but it nevertheless made Honey Lee super memorable for us. And every time we talk about Honey Lee, there's always a smile in our face. So I feel that when we talk about Honey Lee, and if we bring Honey Lee right now with her focus, with her energy, with her youthful vibrance, she could do really well. I mean, this is the type of beauty and this is the type of spunk that Supranational is looking for. It's also something that Miss Grand International could be looking for. I mean, look at her killer body when she competed at Miss Universe. So yes, I hope that we get another Honey Lee from Korea soon. My number 3. Now, if you have listened to MJ Lastimosa's interview with me, then you would understand why Rolene Strauss is a pageant unicorn. First of all, she is scary. But when I say scary, that means like competitive scary. And she doesn't really have to do as much. She just has to appear as Rolene. So at one time, in 2014, she was actually set to compete both at Miss Universe and at Miss World. It's just that she did not compete in Miss Universe because the Miss World pageant happened a bit earlier, and as we all know, in 2014, she won that. But a lot of the ladies from 2014, they were already looking at Rolene because of her impressive bone structure, impressive features, and even more impressive resume. She was studying to become a doctor at that time, and she was very well spoken. She was poised. That beauty doesn't come along too often. So I know that a lot of the girls, when they were interviewed, they were really looking out for Rolene. Now, I know that the Miss Universe crown was almost like, handed over to Paulina, but had Rolene competed in Miss Universe of that year, she would have probably given Paulina a really, really stiff competition. And we have to understand, guys, that edition was physically and facially strong. It wasn't exactly known as a batch with the smartest delegates. So if you have a Rolene Strauss in there with everything, her face, her body, her resume, and then her communication skills, and yeah, she could probably give Paulina a really, really hard time. Who knows? My number 3 spot goes to Edimar Martinez, Miss International 2015. Now, everybody loves Edimar, and for her to compete at Miss International, I remember a lot of the girls and a lot of the organizations that, we've talked to or we've had a little bit of an exchange with, they kept on saying Edimar had no competition during the pageant in 2015. And I absolutely understand this. Facially, she was superior. When she won the locals, a lot of people thought she could go on and compete at Miss Universe, but of course that did not happen because, as you know, as everybody knows in pageantry, when you're fated to win at one pageant, then that's really yours. And I suppose some of the organizers or some of the judges or the powers that be at Miss Venezuela, they really thought that they had a bigger chance of clinching their 7th crown with Edimar. The same way we had that thinking about Kylie moving on to Miss International instead of Miss Universe. And Edimar did not disappoint. She was everything on point. Her face was just something doll-like, and this is also very important and as well as very appealing to the Japanese. But right after her win, you could see what else Edimar was capable of. Of course, as Miss International, you had to be a little more reserved, but right after her stint, she got all model-esque, and she would have photos that are scantily clad, but very tasteful. So you could really see that Eddie Moore could go across the board and just probably win all those titles had they been allowed to do so. So there you go, really exceptional beauty. And my number one, I'm saying this not because I'm Filipino, but because I have a little bit of chi-chi for you. But my number one spot, of course, goes to Catriona Gray. Now, Catriona Gray was not born to be Miss Universe. Of course, we know that that entailed a lot of work, that also entailed a lot of transformation when it comes to just imbibing the spirit of being a Miss Universe candidate and being a Miss Universe winner. Because when Catriona Gray started, she was really a shoo-in for Miss World. She had the personality, she had the styling of someone who would be perfect for Miss World. But as we all know, we followed her Binibining Pilipinas journey and we found how versatile and how focused she was in just making these minor or major changes, not just physically, but about her inner being that just makes her even more perfect. Now, why am I saying Catriona is number one? Because I did hear one chi-chi that during deliberations at Binibining Pilipinas, when they had the national directors and the owners of these pageants, as you know, Madam invites them every year. Apparently, they all wanted Catriona Gray to represent them internationally, but of course, Miss Universe got first dibs of Catriona, but whatever that was just meant that she was really a strong contender. And because of Catriona's drive and because of her innate way of just really making sure she's perfect for the part, I think she would do really well at Miss International, and that is saying a lot. When a girl jumps from maybe Miss Universe to Miss International, as we know, they're super different from each other. When you have a girl who could probably do really well at Miss International and do well at Miss Universe, that means you're super high up there. So you have a Catriona Gray who could also probably do well at Supranational because of that sweet persona, because she's very commercial, but because she can move, and I'm sure she can do her lava walk and that slow-mo turn there and be as successful. What about MGI? I know MGI has a very specific prototype when it comes to body proportions, and maybe Kat would have like a more difficult time with that, but that doesn't matter because I heard that Uncle Nawat actually wanted Kat to be the Philippine representative at Miss Grand. But you know, that's just saying a lot of things. If everybody wants a piece of her, it must mean that she's actually winnable at all of these titles. So there you go, guys. If I missed some of the names, yeah, you don't have to go crazy or nuts about them. Just go ahead and comment below and yeah, let me know what title they're actually perfect for. So thank you, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.